on my way to play almost 25 years in the big leagues, on my way to potentially the Hall of Fame. I'm letting my mother down, letting my siblings, and of course my two daughters. But what was interesting about that year, when I look back at it now, almost a decade later, hard to believe I'm gonna say this, but it's probably the best thing that happened to me.
He was one of the most talented and highest paid baseball players in history. But his career wasn't just about the home runs and accolades. Alex Rodriguez's life off the field was just as dramatic as the one on it. From record-breaking contracts to steroid scandals, and from high-profile relationships to business success, A-Rod's life has been a whirlwind of controversy, success, and reinvention. But how did he go from the diamond to becoming a business mogul worth hundreds of millions of dollars? And what role did the drama surrounding his personal life play in shaping his rise? Stay with us, because the story of Alex Rodriguez is far from ordinary, and you won't believe what happened next. When Alex Rodriguez stepped onto the baseball field, people knew something special was happening. Born in New York City and raised in Miami, A-Rod was destined for greatness. As a high school phenom, Rodriguez was drafted by the Seattle Mariners at just 17 years old, and he quickly became one of the most promising players in the league. His combination of power and finesse at shortstop was unheard of, and by the time he was 25, he had already signed one of the most staggering contracts in sports history, $252 million with the Texas Rangers. But with great success came great pressure. The media couldn't get enough of A-Rod, and with his movie star good looks and undeniable talent, he became the face of baseball. But as the lights got brighter, so did the shadows behind the scenes, and it wasn't long before Alex Rodriguez's life would take a darker turn. A-Rod was on top of the baseball world, but could he handle the weight of fame, money, and expectations? Stay tuned, because his baseball career was about to be rocked by scandal. At the height of his success, Alex Rodriguez was traded to the New York Yankees in 2004, where he inked an even bigger deal, $275 million, the largest contract in baseball history at the time. With the Yankees, A-Rod was supposed to solidify his legacy as one of the greatest players of all time. But instead, his career was about to be defined by something else entirely: steroids. In 2009, Rodriguez admitted to using performance-enhancing drugs, PEDs, earlier in his career while playing with the Texas Rangers.
My cousin started telling me about a substance that you could purchase over the counter in DR in the streets is known as Bole or Bole. It was his understanding it would give me a dramatic energy boost and otherwise harmless. My cousin and I, one more ignorant than the other, decided it was a good idea to start taking it. My cousin would administer it to me, but neither of us knew how to use it properly, providing just how ignorant we both were.
The confession sent shockwaves through the sports world. Here was the golden boy of baseball, the man who was supposed to carry the sport into a new era, confessing that his success was tainted. For many, it was the ultimate betrayal, and it didn't stop there. In 2013, A-Rod was suspended for the entire MLB season due to his involvement in the infamous biogenesis scandal, where several high-profile players were linked to an anti-aging clinic that supplied PEDs. Rodriguez fought the suspension tooth and nail, even suing Major League Baseball at one point, but it was no use. A-Rod's reputation had been shattered. The steroid scandal should have been the end for A-Rod, but did this fall from grace signal the end of his story? Or would Alex Rodriguez somehow find a way to rise from the ashes? You won't believe what happened next. For most athletes, a year-long suspension and a tarnished reputation would have spelled the end of their careers. But Alex Rodriguez wasn't just any athlete. He was a man with something to prove. After serving his suspension, A-Rod returned to the Yankees in 2015, and while his performance on the field wasn't as explosive as it once was, his comeback showed resilience. He became a mentor to younger players, and slowly he began to rebuild his image. But A-Rod's story was no longer just about baseball. He was preparing for life after the sport, and the groundwork he had been laying for years in business was finally paying off. His comeback was remarkable, But A-Rod knew his playing days were numbered. Could he shift gears and reinvent himself once again? Keep watching, because his transition into the business world was just as dramatic as his baseball career. While Alex Rodriguez was making headlines for his on-field controversies, behind the scenes, he was quietly building an empire. In 1995, he founded A-Rod Corp., a holding company that would eventually span real estate, sports, and entertainment. What started as a small venture in real estate quickly grew into a massive portfolio, with Rodriguez acquiring hundreds of apartment units across the U.S. But A-Rod wasn't done there. His business acumen led him to invest in tech startups, fitness companies, and even media. His high-profile role as a baseball analyst for ESPN and Fox Sports helped repair his public image, transforming him from disgraced athlete to respected entrepreneur and media personality. And in 2021, A-Rod made headlines again when he, along with a business partner, became a part owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves, an NBA team. It was the ultimate reinvention. A-Rod had gone from athlete to business mogul, and his story was far from over. But here's the kicker. Did the very controversy that almost destroyed him help fuel his success in business? Stick around, because the story of A-Rod's rise in business is intertwined with his tumultuous personal life. Beyond the field and the boardroom, Alex Rodriguez's personal life has been a constant source of intrigue. A-Rod has been linked to some of the most famous women in the world, and his relationships often played out in the tabloids. His high-profile romance with Madonna during his time with the Yankees raised eyebrows, as did his much-publicized relationships with Kate Hudson and Cameron Diaz. But it was his engagement to global superstar Jennifer Lopez that made him a fixture in pop culture. The power couple seemed unstoppable, appearing at red carpet events and dominating headlines. Together, they were an empire of their own. A-Rod and J-Lo were worth hundreds of millions, and their relationship seemed destined for the long haul. But in 2021, the couple shocked the world when they announced their breakup. The split left fans speculating about what had happened behind closed doors. While both moved on, the breakup marked the end of one of the most glamorous pairings in entertainment. A-Rod's relationships kept him in the spotlight long after his baseball career ended. But did the drama around his personal life affect his business ventures, or was it all just part of his journey to success? Stay tuned for the final chapter. Today, Alex Rodriguez is far more than just a former baseball player. He's a businessman, a media mogul, and a figure who has continually reinvented himself in the face of scandal. From record-breaking contracts to personal controversies, A-Rod's story is one of resilience, reinvention, and ultimately success. Despite his mistakes, A-Rod has built an empire worth hundreds of millions of dollars, proving that you can overcome the past with vision, ambition, and a relentless drive to succeed. From steroid scandals to high-profile relationships, from the baseball diamond to the boardroom, Alex Rodriguez's story is one of the most dramatic in sports history. But through it all, A-Rod has shown that a fall from grace doesn't mean the end. Sometimes it's just the beginning. If you've been inspired by A-Rod's journey from baseball superstar to business mogul, hit that like button, subscribe to Revenue Racers, and let us know in the comments. Is Alex Rodriguez the greatest comeback story in sports?